So it's pretty obvious to most of us that, well, eventually you're going to come to a drought in terms of stuff to record. And, well, I had to fill that drought somehow, so here's a couple of games based on the Nickelodeon brand of cartoons.
Now, you may not know this. It's pretty obscure fact.
Goodness.
It's pretty obscure fact, but we're kind of fans of SpongeBob. Shocking.
Kind of.
I know, but just...
vicarious visions.
Just
And apparently
believe,
the guys who made Insane are too.
But yeah, suspend your disbelief. But yes, we are really big fans of SpongeBob. Hey, I played the PS2 game of this.
I played GameCube.
Same here. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a little collection of look-ats featuring games based off of Nicktoons properties. Our first one being the Game Boy Advance version of SpongeBob SquarePants Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, which, sad as it is to say, this is easily the best version of the game, bar none. Because the original console versions is a piece of shit. And I say that as someone who's actually grown up with that game.
A spongy head always out for a walk with his pet snail Gary. Oh
God.
no, Gary smells kelp-nip. Fuck. He's running away. What will
Who are these
SpongeBob do?
kelp nip and freaking jellyfish
Gary!
eels? Gary, come back! Gary!
So,
Wait.
yeah.
Why are we at the house?
Now we're back at... Now
Gary,
we're...
I guess because Jellyfish Shield is literally right next door to to our residence.
I've played one of the SpongeBob... I don't think I played this one, but I've played a SpongeBob Game Boy Advance game that had this kind of sprite work.
You're thinking of Battle for Bikini Bottom. That game pretty much runs almost exactly like this, except it's also structured a bit differently. Like, I mean, okay, so I guess we should get down to the nitty-gritty of how the game works. In this version of Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, it's a 2D platformer where your main gimmick is using multiple kinds of bubbles in order to traverse through the world around you. Obviously, you have your normal bubbles, which encases all the...
Hey, what's going on, SpongeBob?
I don't know.
Patrick, Gary ran away. Have you seen him?
I think he went that way. Or was it that way? Oh, look, a snail! Have you seen Gary?
Also, he was... also, that was
love
interesting. Also, that was interesting compared to SpongeBob. Patrick was a flat-out 3D model, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was the same model that they used in the console version, just, pre-rendered.
If not the console version, I'm also willing to bet maybe they also just took that model from, say, the PC SpongeBob games.
Oh, right. Stuff like Employee of the Year, Operation Krabby Patty. I actually have Employee of the Year. If I
thought it was called Employee of the Month.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
I meant
called
to say.
Employee of the Month, but technically the whole plot is technically Employee of the Year, so they may as well call it that. But,
I have that.
I mean, if you can run that game, I'd love to do that for the channel.
I had that,
I do
and
have,
I remember-
I do have nostalgic memories
Oh.
of it. Oh, God.
Oh no, it's you. Will I ever have some peace and quiet so I can practice? See, Hype does the better Squidward impression. Also,
Don't flatter me. Seriously, don't.
And that was our random Squidward cameo.
he's legally obligated to appear in every game at least 5 seconds. I had Operation Krabby Patty. I owned it. I just probably sold it by
Actually,
now.
I
have
think I
PC.
do have... I think I have both Operation and Employee of the Month, but yeah, if I'm able to get either or both of them running on this new laptop, I can see what I can do with recording them.
That'd be nice.
I feel like with this new laptop, though, it's going to overclock like mad. Considering
Maybe.
those are well, one of them can be run on Windows 95 of all things.
Yeah.
I'll look into
Yeah.
them. Hey, how do you control which bubble you have?
Unfortunately, you have to. You unfortunately don't have any control over that, but every once in a while you will come across the respective bubble bottle containing the specific type of bubbles you need. Now we have the float bubbles.
Yay for expanded tutorials.
Gary, come back.
But
He says that every time, right?
But yeah, I had the console version of Flying Dutchman, and it was clunky.
Yeah.
It was not that great.
But it was also like the first one, wasn't it?
Or the first console one, anyway.
Actually, no, that wasn't. It was a
Gary, I finally found you.
no. The first console game was Super Sponge.
Well, no, I meant like the
Oh,
first
right,
3D render.
Oh yeah, okay, that was the first 3D,
Look, Gary, a treasure chest.
which
Oh.
has
Oh,
which has a
hello.
ghost.
At last I'm free. I'm free.
Hey, Bill Murray's brother.
Wow, are you a genie?
I was imprisoned. I was enjoying a peaceful slumber in that bottle when you came and woke me up.
So you're a genie. Do I get to make a wish?
That's the rules.
You don't get to make a wish.
genie, and I let you out of the bottle, and...
Never trust a
I'm
genie.
not a genie, Wimbisil. I'm the fearsome Flying Dutchman, the greatest pirate that ever lived.
And if people weren't in the house, I'd probably do a more accurate impression.
So, when do I get my
It's
prize?
okay.
Okay, if you go away, I'll grant you one wish. But first, you must help me find my lost
Lost.
pirate treasure.
I thought it was the socks.
10 of my greatest treasures are lost somewhere around Bikini Bottom, along with my hoard of double doubloons. Gold
You mean
doubloons.
golden?
Golden.
Yeah.
Find them all and I'll grant your wish.
Double the blues, double the fun.
Now leave me alone. I'm off to relive my old pirating days.
How can you relive them if you do?
Hey, let's go, Gary. We're on a treasure hunt.
Meow.
Okay then.
And as I expected, lots of peeking.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, I bet.
Sorry.
So as far as this
that's
version's
right.
concerned, this right here is our main goal. We have to find these 3 keys that will open up a treasure chest at the very end of the level.
Okay.
And of course it pays to find every doubloon you find.
And
Hey.
and assuming this isn't like the console version, the Flying Dutchman is totally not going to like betray us or anything, right?
Oh, I'm sure he won't.
How do we tuck into
Oh, and by the way,
areas
you can
and-
also do this. Or, there we
Oh,
go.
Hello.
that's situational.
Apparently.
Situational, but hey, better have a situational thing be part of like a, well, you know, part of the stage as opposed to part of your own abilities.
There we go. Sheesh. Now we can make our plot. Okay, so I guess that it looks pretty solid enough for a platformer, especially like, was this made before or after most of the Crash Bandicoot games?
I want to say this was released right around the same time as like say Huge Adventure and Entranced.
Okay.
So Vicarious versions clearly had quite a bit on their bucket list around this time, and yeah,
And
it's,
then
it's
this-
funny. It's funny to see how far they've come today.
Yeah.
I mean, for Pete's sakes, they literally got to remake the entire original Crash trilogy.
Jeez, you're right.
Pretty
And-
well, if I'd say
well,
so.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, dude. Like, it's a great remake, even if it's not entirely faithful to the source material.
Or in some cases, too faithful.
Yeah, you're right.
Considering that on their resume was Spyro Orange, like, yeah.
Yeah.
One,
Click.
2, 3.
bye.
And what do we get? A Medal of Dishonor.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go, 100%.
Medal of Dishonor!
Chapter bonus unlocked.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that where we're gonna...
Jellyfish Jam.
Oh yeah, they brought this as a mini game.
Aw, no Jellyfish Jam music. Aw, I'm sad.
They probably
So-
couldn't make it sound too good on the GBA sound font.
I'm sure they could have, but I think there might have. I think that might have also been one of those. How should I put this?
Well, hey,
it's one of those tracks that you can only really use in the cartoon as opposed to the games.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
true.
that sprite work recreation of the wall thing in the background's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's like it's pre-rendered or something.
Now this looks like one of the kind of games I'd see in Spyro Orange.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because
There's
there
a
was something I
dancing game.
completely forgot to show off during our Crash and Spyro Orange Purple look at.
That there's a really bad, dumb dancing mini game you can access.
Well, it's a funny enough distraction, but otherwise,
Well, it's like
yeah.
wasn't it like an Easter egg that had nothing to do with Spyro or Crash? It was something
It
else.
was
entirely?
yeah, it was an Easter egg. You have to hold down like the shoulder buttons before you start the game, before the Game Boy Advance boot up screen finishes.
Which that was so weird. I don't know what that was supposed to be.
It might have been a tech demo for all I know.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
weird.
maybe if I find an excuse, I'll show them off. But in the
Next
meantime,
game.
this is more than just going to be SpongeBob related. I show off other Nicktoon games as well. I mean, that's kind of like the title. Some
Who's
Nicktoons.
ready for controversy? No, just more divisiveness.
Well,
Yeah.
honestly, I wouldn't really say it's not so much the show itself that gained the divisiveness, it's more so the guy that made it.
Well, the show kind of got
Yeah.
divisive in the later seasons, but this was back in its prime.
Oh yeah, no, this
Enter
was
the
back when the show was actually good. This is the Fairly Odd Parents Enter the Cleft.
The Crimson Chin.
Funny enough, I want to say this was actually my gateway into the franchise itself, because I remember this very distinctly. It was like near Christmas time, and my mom actually got me 2 Game Boy Advance games. This was one of them, and the other one was Spyro 2 Season of Flames.
Okay. What
Actually,
the-
I want to ask that real quick, like, even though it's completely unrelated, is there a particularly notable difference between Season of Fire and Season of Ice?
Season of Flames is the sequel.
Oh.
but like functionally and like design
Functionally,
wise,
it's,
no.
it's mostly the same. Anyway, with Enter the Cleft, here playing as, well, Timmy Turner's alter ego, the Cleft, the boy Chin Wonder.
Everyone's favorite butt chin.
Yeah, just
Well, that's part of the outfit.
never forget
I
the
know.
butt chin.
So,
To be fair, it only pales in comparison to his idol, the Crimson Chin, but we'll get to him in a little while. But, yeah, I figured I'll go and show off this little tutorial section, because, well, it does a cute little set piece where we, well, have to deal with Vicky and her dog.
Aw, not her pet dog whose name I keep forgetting.
I forgot
be
its
fair-
name either.
Yeah, to be fair, I forget either. Like, I think
think-
it only appeared once, though.
Yeah, it was a one-time thing.
Oh, you killed it!
And we're about to kill Vicky, too!
You
Doof.
killed her!
Bye,
Dang
Gray.
it, twerp!
Remember, this is a tutorial.
It's not canon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have a Wario charge and a water gun pistol thing out of Home Alone.
Yeah.
And within the kitchen we find the ever-elusive.
Hot dog.
A hot dog, which is stupid because if you really paid attention to it, the ketchup was on top of the bun, not the hot dog.
Also, couldn't Timmy just wish he had the hot dog?
Well, that would defeat the whole purpose of this
See, the
tutorial.
ketchup was on the bun. Oh, whatever.
And that's how we control Cleft.
Oh yeah, I'm awesome.
If nothing else, it's a short tutorial. So how about we go to the real meat of the package?
Okay.
To the Cleft!
Thank you.
By the way, I love how two of those panels are straight up. Well, they look like they were made off the GBA's limitations, while the others were clearly screen capped from the show itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're using archived models for all this. Cosmo, what are you looking at? And smiling. What are you looking
found
at,
a nickel.
Wanda? So we wanted to be like his favorite
He
comic book
found the
hero.
nickel in Timmy's pocket.
Ah, okay. So Timmy, as always, wants to.
I
live
wish
the
I could
good
meet
and-
this Crimson Chin and become as strong as him.
Close enough. Oh,
Oh boy.
There's something that was ripped straight from the cartoon. But, oh god. Actually, if you pull it that way, like, when Timmy becomes Cleft, he shouldn't even just look like Timmy Turner anymore. He should just look like a fucking buff-ass child.
yeah.
I think they did do something like that in one of the episodes. I think it's the one that that introduces the Nega Chin. Like,
Oh,
when he
yeah,
became
the big-
Cleft, he did have like a temporarily buff body.
Oh yeah, that was the big superhero wish. I remember that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, so this is how the game actually
Hog
starts. We're
ham.
literally inside the comic book.
How many hog boys are there? And
Oh,
him.
and that's the cosplayer of the Spatula Woman.
Oh, yeah.
To think that some cosplays are actually that.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, yeah, that's
Weird.
the cosplay for the bronze kneecap.
Yeah.
I forgot it was the bronze.
Yeah, that's the cosplay guy for the. You're right. They're just the cosplay. Probably because we're gonna actually fight the real guys as bosses later.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
These are
that's
just their henchmen.
I think this game was literally made right around the same time when one of the first few Crimson Chin episodes actually aired. Like, this was before we had the likes of the Nega Chin or to some extent Mighty Mom and Dinah. Oh,
Hey.
Whoop.
I don't know if I said this or not, but I could totally random thought, but like I could totally see H2 Olga being voiced by whoever played Ursula.
actually, that's another thing. This was before
Pat
he-
Carroll,
she-
that'd be amazing.
That's before she was a thing. I just realized.
H2 Olga?
Yeah, this was before like this was literally released around
During season
2002. Or no, either season 1 or season 2, somewhere around there. Like this was back in the early years of the Fairly Odd Parents, and back when this show was actually a pretty good watch for kids. I mean, it was for me when again, this was literally my gateway into the show itself, which honestly is funny
Really?
looking back on it.
And I liked it too.
Yeah, that's odd. But, I mean,
It
I
had
should
its
say,
it had its moments, and then I liked the show up until after the what was the movie called, Channel Chasers?
Yeah.
Channel
that was a
Chasers.
good one.
Which I'm convinced and went through the same way that SpongeBob did, where it's like that was meant to be the way the series ended, but it was making too much money. It's like, no,
No.
we need to keep the cash cow milking.
I was saying, no, you're right, because that was the movie where like his parents were finally about to learn about how like Vicky was being mean to him, but at the end he was like, he learned that, you know what, he kind of needs Vicky to be his babysitter, because otherwise Cosmo and Wanda had no reason to be there.
Right,
Like, it
they
was this
serve
whole-
their purpose.
Yeah, now I actually think about all the themes that thing covered, you're right, that would have been a pretty decent, like, closure episode.
But
Yeah.
they figured, the possibilities could still be endless, except they really weren't.
Well, then there was the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
Oh
Which
yeah,
we
I
gotta
love
talk
those.
about.
The first
Wait,
one was
what?
fine.
You didn't like it?
For me, it was an instance of I was fine with the story. It was more so just the fact that, not for nothing, I know they tried, but their art styles don't really clash all that well. Like, particularly
Timmy-
seeing.
I think Timmy worked better in Jimmy's world than.
I'm Crimson Chin. Hey kid, what's your name?
And,
Kind of
Well?
he just looks impatient, like, come on, I don't have all day, kid. Stop the pose. Your name.
The silent type. I like that.
Forget you.
There's a Crimson Chin!
Also, that's a bold claim to make, you saying that, like, Jimmy-fied Timmy looked better than, like, Fairly Odd Parents-ified Jimmy, because...
Well, it did.
Have you seen, like... I'm sorry, just...
I've
that is
seen
an
it.
example
I thought
of...
I thought it worked out all right.
See, I liked the fact... See, I thought it was weird, but also thought it was interesting how, like, everyone for some reason kept confusing the two, which made no sense whatsoever.
I
'cause
mean,
neither
yeah.
one looked the other.
okay. If you don't like it, that's fine. I kind of like how Timmy looked in the Jimmy world because they still kept the somewhat stylized nature of his native art style anyway. And I think honestly, I think it translates better than what they did with Jimmy. Where when you stop and think about it, he looks rather dull in that universe.
I
Yeah.
get him. Well, one life.
And with
wow.
that, we leave Clef to his fate as we look at our last game.
Speaking
And
of
also
Jimmy
kind of-
Neutron,
Yeah, I was about to say, fitting that we were talking about that crossover, because now we're going to look at the second half.
And for those wondering, no, I didn't show off any of the Danny Phantom games, even though they would have made perfect sense.
Hi, I'm Paul.
I love that part of the credits.
So yeah, welcome to Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, a Game Boy Advance game based off the original Jimmy Neutron movie.
That's
Ah,
right.
makes
That's right. Did this actually have a pilot, or did it start out as the movie?
It technically did start off as like this old demo reel or something like that, or like a pilot that aired like in the late '90s.
Wow, look at these models ripped straight from TV.
and then it turned
goodness.
into a movie, and then the TV series.
I remember seeing
Which
it.
I'm gonna have a very controversial opinion. I think the movie's fine. Like, I think it's perfectly harmless.
Right.
I don't think the TV show's aged that well.
I like the movie. I actually remember seeing it in theaters, and I thought it was.
Oh
I
yeah, no,
thought
the movie's good. I mean, on the topic of the TV show though, I mean, I definitely will agree that some parts of it have not aged that well at all. There's others I think are kind of harmless
well,
though.
I feel like it's dated CG. Number one, number two.
DCG, I mean,
Number two, the scenarios were unique, but some of them didn't hold up as well.
some scenarios were kind of funny though when you stop and think about it. Like, remember the Ice Age
Yeah.
episode?
And remember, have fun with it. Also, those two birds are totally. No, anyway. Oh, that's right. I forgot his dad's super into ducks.
Yeah, his dad has an obsession with ducks.
Yeah, he
Not
does.
the ducks. I'm starting to remember. You know what? I'm actually starting to remember playing this game now.
Oh yeah, no,
A
like
long
this is-
time ago.
I remember playing this game back in my childhood too. It's like it always felt like it reached that sort of uncanny valley, and even today I realize, yeah, this game is like this clearly is a game that was built. It was a product of its time.
And
his
cheeks just look a little bit too full.
Yeah, and I was about to say, it's funny, like, we're talking about the GBA version. I had more so experience
our
with the
dad.
console version of this game, which was that handled by, like, the same developer or different people?
I think it might have been handled by a different developer.
Huh.
So the whole point behind the Jimmy Neutron Game Boy Advance game is that, well, every world has a specific objective, and that objective links to multiple other levels in that world. In this case, we have to find a whole bunch of stuff to help build up rockets so we can chase after the Yokians up in space, who've already
Right.
stolen our parents.
And God.
I
So
love
we're
how
pretty much
you,
at the
like-
halfway point of the movie by now.
Yep.
What is Goddard? I know the name has to be based on something, but I forgot for some reason.
I want to say it's probably based off a scientist.
I bet.
Let me
So I
look.
Oh yeah,
remember,
that's another thing. You can play as both Jimmy and Goddard.
see, I remember playing the PS2 game that
Which
had
was also for the
its-
GameCube.
I remember this now. The grapple mechanic. I remember playing the. I remember playing the PS2 game, which, at its best, it was an okay platformer. At its worst, it was clunky.
I would say the later Jimmy Neutron games definitely made better use of the brand, where they actually, took into account that he is a boy genius. He would make all these inventions. You gotta find the means to invent them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first off, random fact nerd moment of the day. Robert Hutchings Goddard, born in 1882 and died in 1945. He was an American engineer and is credited as having built the world's first liquid-fueled rocket.
Interesting.
Anyway, so yeah, he's a big rocket guy, aka Rocket Dog. Also,
that would make perfect sense considering the whole point of this movie / game.
Yeah. Oh, and I remember the other game I played, which I actually did enjoy a lot of, was Jimmy Neutron Jet Fusion.
Oh yeah, Jet Fusion wasn't too bad from what I remember.
But like he goes into the super spy world or something like that.
Literally, the entire world transforms into pretty much the
spy movie.
Jet
That's
Fusion
right.
spy movie.
Yeah.
That's right, and it had some pretty fun stuff, including a Star Wars reference by Goddard. I remember that part happening. All your friends became villains and stuff. Had a decent 3D platformer thing to it, and of course, Calamitous was in it.
Yeah.
Tim Curry was the perfect choice for Calamitous. I'll just give you that.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And, I mean, kind of fitting too, considering Calamitous was the villain of that TV special.
That is, yeah, that's also true.
I think he's like I think out of all the series' villains, I think he's the most reoccurring.
He's fun.
Yeah, same.
And he's
He is.
human and
I mean-
not alien.
Which
Hey,
is
Shane.
Whoa,
Oh,
hello,
Sheen. What
Shane.
they do to you, pal?
See, there's
He was
now.
always off.
So what was the spin-off like? The Sheen spin-off?
It sucked.
It was worse than the actual TV show.
I did see.
Basically, it's. Did you like how the writing was in the later seasons? That's pretty much the entire writing of Shane's spinoff.
There was that thing I saw on Twitter that just looked hysterical, which was it's going around. It's this POV shot of him spinning Carl around, and then
I don't think that was the full
Tosses
show.
this guy.
tosses him into the sky, and then an airplane whacks into him.
It seriously looked like something out of an
Source filmmaker,
SFM
yeah.
video. A source.
I'm
film
pretty sure that's
maker
what
video.
it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
That was from the show.
Oh.
Jesus Christ!
It was
I
hysterical,
never thought
though.
they would go that low.
But it was so funny though. I enjoy that. Just
I mean, it's a funny set piece, but to be fair, it's one of those elusive, best out of context videos.
Oh yeah, no, I bet the whole episode sucked, but the freaking. I'm trying to remember of the other moments of Jimmy Neutron I can remember. There was
I
that
remember the salesman episode, which
there was that
with
one.
the robotic salesman voiced by
Tom Kenny.
Tom Kenny. There was also the candy episode, which was
Oh my
honestly, looking
god,
back,
that
that's
was
super
crazy.
That
There
one
was-
was unsettling as fuck.
There was the episode. Oh, I remember that where he kept making the candy that just like became. There was
Oh,
this.
that candy episode.
There was that episode. There was that episode with I forget her name, but she played his grandma.
Oh, Phyllis Diller.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phyllis Diller. You know
the
that lady
episode
comedian.
where-
She's a famous old-timey actress.
Well,
Yeah.
now she's dead.
She,
Yeah.
unfortunately, she's one of those people that, the minute you hear her voice, you instantly recognize her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
her
would-
voice is very recognizable.
But
I do remember the Thomas Edison art video or episode.
Oh yeah.
where
We brought
literally-
it time.
And he literally had a hard on for Miss Fowl.
Of all
There
people.
was that. There was the episode of. In terms of specials, I remember the episode where the Yokians came back.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That episode I thought was alright.
There was that
That was
episode.
fine.
There was the classic. This was being tossed around everywhere, and not for nothing, but seeing all these episodes going around the place, it kind of built the fatigue that led to me not liking PlayStation Move Heroes. But there's that special that this did, and Teen Titans did the exact same thing, which was the special of, oh no, they've been pulled from Earth and are now participating in an
I know
intergalactic
what you're
game
talking
show.
about.
Oh yeah,
I
the
think
one
Yeah.
that was one starring Tim Allen. I mean,
Yeah, Tim Allen as the host.
That's just
But it's just, but this it did that did it. Teen Titans did it, and then finally when PlayStation Move Heroes, hey Nick, but so then when PlayStation Move Heroes did it, it didn't look fun or interesting to me at all.
Also,
be
if
fair,
it was immediately
even if-
obvious, if it's not immediately obvious to those that barely watch the show, the stuff that you can collect to fill up your health is the purple the shiny purple soda
Fleur.
stuff. Yeah, purple fleur.
Yeah, purple floor.
Oh yeah, purple flare.
And I was about to say, I'm not gonna discredit you there, Logan. But honestly, even if that plot line wasn't a trope as old as time itself, because that's pretty much common fare in a lot of like science fiction shows. Even if that trope wasn't as old as time itself, it wouldn't really change the fact that Move Heroes kind of sucks.
It could have been.
Yeah.
They had a really fun idea behind it, taking some of the best hits of Sony era, but they didn't
And I will
utilize
give them
them.
credit. At first, I did like some of their interactions. Like, for
Yeah, those
example,
were
like
fun.
when Jack was practicing for his event, he had the hammer, and Sly was like, "Nice. It makes up in strength where it lacks some finesse. I get to the point."
But there's that, and the whole stuff between Clank and Bentley having their stuff.
Yeah, Clank and Bentley having a friendship. I thought that was cute.
But yeah, they made sense, and Dax and
Well, they're both nerds.
And meanwhile, Dax are just. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like they should have crafted a plot that actually made use of all of their skills, and not just you're in a game show.
More, yeah, just
And
more
none of
dumb gimmicks.
And now none of you, except for mostly Ratchet and Clank, who's already done this, see Ratchet Deadlocked, and sort of Jack and Daxter, if you take into account some of their other stuff. But really, I guess we lost. But really, like, they should have crafted a better story. Anyway, sorry. Jimmy Neutron was okay.
Yeah, pretty much. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, hope you all enjoyed our little look at on all these other Game Boy Advance titles based on Nicktoon franchises. I mean, I know there's a couple more out there. If I feel like there's enough we could talk about with them, I'll definitely show them off. But in the meantime, those are the ones I have the most nostalgia. Well, except, we'll say for the SpongeBob one, though that one's largely based on another game I played a lot of, and I figured we already did a look at a console version, so we'll just do that one instead. But whatever the case, I'm JamesmanXtreme.
I'm Lucky Jack 20.
I'm Jordan the Cat 11.
And I'm a shooby.
Yeah, and don't touch that green slime. Till next time, guys.
And I was cancelled!
And I actually liked the show.